welcome to Grimsby, or Cleethorpes to be exact, for tonight's League Two fixture.
Harry.
Nick,
yeah,
where's Joe?
Here. Joe's not here.
Joe's not here?
I don't know where he is.
We've got a show. Where's Joe?
Joe? Joe, what, Joe? What? What are you doing?
We've got this show, Joe.
Come on, lads, gotta run. It's all gonna down. 31. Welcome to Blundell Park.
You've had quite the day.
Some intro that, eh? Some intro.
We've got to top that somehow.
Blundell Park is cold, but let me tell you, not as cold as it was earlier on. Blundell Park, of course, is home to Grimsby Town, where the Reds play this evening. Coming up on the show, in the build-up to that, Harry and myself will have Ken here to talk through the lineup. We'll take a look at last week's action against Colchester. We'll see how we got on against Grimsby last year. We'll have the view from Grimsby. Of course, we always like to get the opposition on to tell us their side of the story. Not a great story at the moment. We assume from Grimsby at the moment, obviously struggling in the league. And then to complete today's show, as per Saturdays, we will have the second half of that Zoom call that I had with Sergio Torres, Matt Tubbs and Danny Bullman. Of course, you can keep up on the action. £10 for both home and away followers. You can watch the game here live in just under an hour's time on iFollow.
In your heart, in spirit, in soul, you make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks, you're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you there is only one, abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary, with coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There is no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. And you can't be there with iFollow.
Yeah, so make sure you're following the action on iFollow. Going to be a difficult game tonight, I think. Very, very windy, but make sure you're there. Make sure you're watching the lads from home, as you have been so brilliantly all season. Why not grab yourself a Ballers? Of course, Ballers is open. Meal deal's still on for match day. Burger, chips and a drink for just £5. So make sure you get involved in that. Someone who never touches a Ballers, Ken.
Yeah, not me.
Not much. Okay, let's run through that. We'll run through today's lineup for you. In goal, as always, is Glenn Morris. Looks like a back three this evening. George Frankham, Jordan Tunnicliffe, and Joe McNerney. We are speculating a little bit. We think wing backs maybe of Sam Matthews and James Tilley. In the midfield three of Josh Wright, Jack Powell, and Jake Hessenthaler, and then up top Tom Nichols and Ashley Addison. Ken, let's bring you in first. What are we making of that?
Well, yeah, obviously Joe, he's using his squad again, isn't he, the gaffer? A couple of enforced changes with the injuries to Tom Dallison. Unfortunately, I think he's done his ligament somewhere, and I think Tony's broke a foot, so they've had to bring in, obviously, two in the back, Joe McNerney coming in, and a switch round, obviously, the full-backs, like they did on Saturday after the injuries, I suppose. And I mean, obviously, a couple of players into the squad again tonight, into the team, I mean. They brought Sam Matthews back in, and Josh Wright come right back into the team. And hopefully, as you said earlier, one of the biggest games of the season for us, because all the teams above us all playing each other tonight, like one versus two, and one versus
Ken,
three.
that's my big talk later on.
Sorry, mate.
Basically, I made the point. I think tonight's game is our biggest game of the season. I'll tell you why later on. If Ken doesn't tell you beforehand. Yeah, I was prepping that big monologue, and then you've just stole it, Ken.
Well, I mean, we was only chatting, weren't we, briefly about it, and then you asked me to talk, and it is, I mean, it is a big game tonight, isn't it? I mean, obviously we're playing bottom of the league. They've been in disastrous form, but it's going to change somewhere for them, isn't it? I mean, let's hope it's not tonight.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers
that's
crossed.
right.
And Harry, I was just saying over there, saying when Ken nicked all my secrets. I was saying that, do you know what, tonight, before I knew the team, I was thinking, do you know, I'd probably try and have a go with a 3-5-2. Obviously, we missed when Tony Craig was out of Bournemouth. I thought we missed him, so maybe this is something a bit different, not making the same. I don't want to call it a mistake, but it clearly didn't work. So maybe mixing it up, doing something a bit different, trying a new formation, hopefully catch Grimsby out this season.
I think we'll probably look to try and take the game to them. I think you've got to do that. I think initially you look at paper and you see Tuesday night Grimsby away, and just none of it screams very pleasant. Do you know what I mean? So the last thing you want to be doing is sitting back, soaking it up, and letting them get even on top for 5 or 10 minutes. I think if we really take the game to them and try and get
run over, Ken.
try and get our noses in front. I think when you're playing against bottom of the league with struggling for wins themselves, if you can do that, then we might be able to kick on.
But I mean, the wind's going to play a big part in the game tonight, because it's quite breezy here tonight, and it's a blustery wind. It's neither coming one way or the other.
We don't actually have a great record here either, which plays around at the back. It did at Cambridge, and it plays around at the back of my mind here. And I said to you, I don't think we've won here in the football league, so it's a little bit tricky. Can we come here and get our first one? I think we absolutely can, and like you touched on it, I think it could be an important 3 points if we can get them as you look forward in our fixtures. The run of games we've got coming up is actually pretty tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just a little thing to say. I'm sorry if you can hear wind picking up on our mics. We've even got more expensive mics. Nick the Geordie splash of cash on some nice new mics.
Yeah.
But some clubs are more hospitable than others, shall we say?
Yeah.
Say no more.
more.
Harry, you look very cold.
I thought we were going to be in a nice warm shelter.
View. We had all sorts of grief.
Yeah.
Nick the Geordie's telling me he's really warm in the van. He's set up inside. Yeah, I'm glad, Nick. Yeah, congratulations to you. Ken, was just touching on that wind. I quite like the idea of the 3 in midfield. I think today's going to be a bit of a scrap, and I think actually maybe John, it's going to be tough. It's going to be windy, and putting 3 people in there, 3 people who are Josh Wright comes back in today. He will have a scrap, and he'll sort of put himself about, and he'll sort of hopefully dominate that midfield.
He can hold in midfield, and he's a centre midfield holder, isn't he? We obviously with Jack Powell doing the business with the ball, and then he's the man who gets the ball and gives it to Jack Powell, isn't he? And that should be his role in the team.
I think what's key as well is giving him a game's break. I think sometimes he came in and he really hit the ground running. His first couple of performances were really impressive. Then sometimes you can kind of go, well, you're not quite performing to that level again. It's dropped off. I think being taken out the game at the weekend and being fresh for tonight, we said about how the game's going to play out. I think, it's probably a big boost for us all around.
I mean, he came in, obviously, for Morient, and he hadn't played many games for it.
No, exactly.
And when we played him up there, I watched him training up and down the pitch before the game, not even in the squad. And then like a couple of months later, he's in our
playing
team.
90 every week.
Yeah, that's right. He's playing 90 every week.
My instinct tells me this is going to be a game where experience is needed.
Yeah.
And maybe we will feel the loss of Tony Craig tonight. He would have been ideal, I would say, in this weather and the wind in particular. You feel like that could have been useful.
One of our better signings, isn't he, this year, Tony Craig? He brings that old head to the back four. And I mean, and for his size, I mean, the jump he can get on the ball. If you watched him on Saturday, he was out jumping their centre half, who was probably 6 inches taller than him, and he was out jumping him. And we're going to miss that tonight, I think, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tony Craig obviously did get injured in action I made him sound like an army veteran there. Injured in action. Tony Craig did pick up an injury on Tuesday night. Nope, Saturday. I get so many confused. There's so many Saturdays and Tuesdays.
I know.
They all roll
It's
into
Saturday,
one.
Tuesday now, Joe, until May, mate.
But hey, July. June
June.
21st. We're back here.
Fans at Wembley for the playoff final.
Yeah. Ooh, big shout there from Harry. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, in for the playoffs.
all right. Calm it. We will talk about. Me and Harry will have a chat about our playoff dream, and I'll be making my big bold statement after we take a look back at Saturday's action. A late win against Colchester United.
Found some nice stuff, the home side, and they'll have a free kick right on the edge of the area. Stevenson bringing down Hesketh. It's a really clever move, and it's drilled just wide. Textbook training ground routine. Powell couldn't keep the effort on target.
Challenges.
Colchester with a corner. It's a Decent looking delivery, it's only headed vertically. Newell tries to strike it. The shot does eventually come in, and again. Excellent save from Glenn Morris to deny Ote the goal. Need to be careful not to overplay it. Craig thumps it forward. Nichols looking for Naddison, and still James Tilley couldn't find a clear route towards goal. Another chance coming in. Naddison didn't catch it how he'd like. He kind of just side-footed it against the ground. Nichols held on to it, but the ball played backwards wasn't a good one.
In between the keeper and defenders, it's a good ball. Pass it. Go Jeremy, Jack. Higher up.
Craig. Now Powell. It's a searching ball. Here is Naddison. You have to compliment the defending there. Naddison thought he was away. The ball didn't sit up for him. Colchester got men back. Forward by Morris now. Headed away by Eastman. Powell looking to take it forward. Squared by Nichols. Chance for Tilley! Crawley have snatched it at the death. And it's the substitute, James Tilley, with the goal. Perhaps of the two sides, they deserve it a bit more, but it's a bitter pill to swallow for the visitors. Look at them all go down in despair. It's a lovely, composed finish, though. And Crawley, in the 93rd minute, go 1-0 up.
Yeah, welcome back to Blundell Park, where the Reds are in action in about 45 minutes or so. I imagine. I can't see a clock. I don't know why I'm looking for one. So what gives us a perfect opportunity to thank our sponsors here of Talk of the Town, Mr. Declutter. Huge thank you to those guys for continuing their support, enabling us. They're giving us some finances to enable us to keep putting on this show. So huge thank you to Mr. Declutter. Do garage clearances. They do it all, loft clearances, house clearances, everything. If you are using one of those services, please do use Mr. Declutter, because your support for them will enable them to continue to support us. So Mr. Declutter, no mess, no stress. So yeah, please do support them. They're good guys down there. Like them a lot. Now, I said before we went to the highlights, I was going to make a big statement about why I think this is the biggest game of the season so far.
The car park is yours.
Here it goes. Now, yes, we're playing Grimsby. They're technically bottom of the league.
And it's no given that we win.
100%. Whenever we've come here, we've always struggled. They beat us early in the season. I'm not saying, by no means am I sitting here saying, I expect us to win, we're going to win. I'm not saying that. But my point is this. You look at the teams above us tonight, they are all pretty much playing each other. First plays third. Okay, I think fourth plays fifth. Salford play Morecambe, or they're up there around there. Carlisle play Tranmere, they're both around there.
Orient, Bradford.
Orient are one above us. Bradford are one below us. So we are sat just outside the playoffs, with say 6 points behind, 4 to 6 points behind about the teams above us. And okay, there's a couple, Cambridge United, or whatever, are further than that. We have 1 or 2 games in hand. After tonight, we guarantee, we 100% know teams above us are dropping points. Obviously not all of them, but we know some of them are dropping points because they're all playing each other. By the end of tonight, we could be 3 or 4 points outside the playoffs with game in hand. If we win tonight, that's going to happen, is it not, Harry?
It is, and if people are still with us and still following along,
all right.
I'm joking. It's a big game.
It is a big game.
You sold it to me.
And I know I'm going to get, I'll probably get told off, and I know John would want to play it down, Erdem would want to play it down, and I understand that, but it's my job to big it up. So I mean, I'm not, as I say, I'm not saying I don't think tonight's going to be an easy game. I really don't.
You look at the next 3 as well. You look at Exeter Saturday, Morecambe next week, Tranmere next week. all of them above us and knocking on the door if they're not in the playoffs already. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, do you know what I mean? If this is where you can set the stall out to go to those games and be like, look, we've won our last 2. We've put ourselves in a really good position to kick on now, and we're playing teams around us.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I truly believe a win tonight, whatever happens in other games, it puts us right in the mix with a game in hand. We very much we would have put our bad form behind us. Obviously, we struggled. We had 4 games without a win. I think that goal at Colchester, that goal against Colchester is going to be
I
huge.
think we were saying, weren't we, sitting in the stand, and we said, we just need something to drop for us. I don't know what it is, but something needs to kick us in and just get us out of that little mini rut that we've been in.
And John, I think John came on the show on Saturday and spoke, basically said exactly that, didn't we? And we just need a little bit of quality in the final third, something to fall for us. And all right, they kept us waiting until about the 92nd minute or whatever it was, but a bit of quality from Tom Nichols. He lays on a pass and James Tillett. One thing that really impressed me about that goal was how calm he was.
Didn't end up in Hawley.
He hasn't scored. He hasn't scored a goal for Crawley. It was a really pivotal moment. He'd come off the bench. He was probably desperate to impress his new manager, his new fans, his new teammates, and he sort of calm as you like slotted it, and hopefully that'll be big for him. He obviously comes into the lineup tonight
Against his former side.
Yes, of course.
So,
him and Jake Hessenthal are both
exactly.
playing against their former side, so I think that they'll certainly have something to prove. So yes, in conclusion, I think tonight is our biggest game of the season so far. Okay, you could talk about Leeds and Cup. Fine, well,
it's
I
done
understand.
now.
That's gone. This could be a really big. If we're going to make the playoffs, this could be the day where we look at it and go, do you know what? We're right in the mix.
You sold it to me.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's my job, pretty much. So yeah, that's handy. As I said, Grimsby is not going to be a tough feat tonight. I mean, the conditions. I don't know if you can get an impression. You probably can't pick up on the mics. It's really, really windy. The pitch is always a little bit difficult here. Hopefully, we will have someone from Grimsby popping by to have a chat and tell us about their season. But let's take a look about how the Reds got on against Grimsby earlier in the season.
Pump forward from McKeown. And a drop for Hesketh. Waters. Ball played in by Matthews. Drops for Waters. And what a finish that is. Max Waters with his 9th goal in 11 Crawley games since joining in the summer. It was he who started the move. Fed the ball wide to Matthews. It's a poor clearance. Take nothing away from Waters. Rose standing over the free kick. Waterfall heads it across. Green's in space. And Green will apply the finish. It's a deserved equaliser for Grimsby. It's too easy for Waterfall to head the ball back across. And then Wright. Green had half a yard of space. Preston. Lovely ball down the channel for Edwards. Crosses it, and it's finished by Max Wright. Well, it's a simple goal for Grimsby. Danny Preston saw the run of Edwards. It's a very good pick out from the young forward. And there was Max Wright. Great first time finish. Grimsby have turned things around.
We're joined now by James from Grimsby, who's going to... where'd you work for, James?
With the Grimsby Telegraph.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So we've just been looking back there at your win at our place earlier in the season. Probably one of few wins for you so far, certainly over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's a rare victory for Town this season. A bit of an anomaly, really, given the way the season's gone. So far, I mean, you only have to look at the table to realise how bad it's been, really, for Town this season, and just in desperate need of a win tonight, really, and any way it'll come, really, we'll do.
How have the performances been? Because I thought that when you won down at our place, I'd never say you were the worst team in the league that's come to us. I don't think probably you would say that either. So it'd be interesting how have those performances been? Even you might not be getting the results, but you're in the games, or is it a case of no, you are really struggling?
It was, I have to say, performance of Crawley was, as I say, a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah. So performance and result kind of anomaly.
Performance and results. Most of the season has been pretty poor. It's been a bit hectic, a bit players not really looking like knowing what the manager wants them to do. That was the case under Ian Holloway previously. Recent weeks, it has improved a bit, especially at Newport. The first half, really, they should have gone at least 1-0, 2-0 up. Didn't take the chances, obviously came away with a defeat in the end. That's kind of the blueprint, I think, for the rest of the season now. Obviously, a lot of new players, that sort of thing. And I think there is some hope that they can beat the drop. But it is going to take a little bit of a miracle, but it can be done.
We were saying on the way up here that it seems every year the league seems to get away from a few people. It's not like I mean, you're looking in the Premier League, for example, and it has happened a little bit this year. You've got the two teams who are down the bottom, but then there's like that little pocket of teams where there's 4 or 5.
Well, it's kind of like, if you look at the bookies at the start of the season, us and Morecambe are the favourites to go down every year. So if we get to mid-table, well then there's going to be a couple of teams that probably their expectations aren't to be in a relegation battle at all. And like you said, the situation's got away from them.
It seems like, to me, the season is going where a lot of teams are pulling away now. The likes of Stevenage picking up a few results. Initially it was Bolton, Mansfield, they were in there. They've put on a little run of form and pulled themselves out. And it seems to be there's 3. There's yourselves, Barrow and Southend, who are still stuck in that. And it's looking like, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it's looking like it's going to be 2 from those 3, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely looks to be the case. And I mean, to be fair, Town have been helped by Southend and Barrow not picking up the results recently. Obviously, Barrow sacked their manager at the weekend as well, so that's be interesting to see how that kind of goes. It is looking like a 3-horse race. I think the hope is, especially for those 3 teams, that the likes of maybe Stevenage, can't even think who was above them.
Scunthorpe, around there, aren't they?
Scunthorpe, I mean, they've hit form as well.
Particularly good for Grimsby if they got sucked back in.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, 4 wins in a row for them, so you can see them kind of pulling away. I think the hope is, I mean, especially for those 3 teams, that they can put a bit of a run like that together, pull those other teams above them back into it, hopefully. But you've just got to kind of look at those 3 teams. I think it's probably going to be 2 of those 3.
I've sort of followed the Grimsby. I don't know why. I just have. I don't know why. I've sort of followed the situation. Your off-field situation as well, and it seems that just everything has gone wrong for you this year. It looked like the club was being sold. John Fenty's the owner, isn't he? It looked like he had pretty much sold the club, and then it was like, no, Ian Holloway leaves, and then he's like, no, the club hasn't been sold. On the pitch, it just doesn't seem to have gone well. You seem to be one of the clubs who were seriously hit by COVID and had quite a slow start to the season in terms of recruitment. Is it just a case of everything has gone wrong? Do you put the blame with a manager, with an owner, with the players? Like, what's the situation?
It's mostly with the board at the moment. Obviously, they're in the process now of handing over to the new owners. Hopefully that should happen fairly soon, within the next month or so. But essentially, pre-season was handled so poorly. I mean, yes, we are in the situation we're in with COVID, that sort of thing, and it's not an easy pre-season to sort out, but it was especially bad from Town. Just the 1 pre-season game going into the season, certainly not enough. Signings made by Ian Holloway, I don't know what the thinking was there. There was a lot of non-league players who just clearly aren't ready to make the step up, and that was the case of almost relying on them to pick up the pieces, I guess.
And it seems like clubs like us, vultures, we call ourselves, have come in and taken the likes of Jake Hessenthaler.
Yes.
Jake Hessenthaler has been brilliant for us. And when you look at like when he first signed, you get an idea from Twitter in particular. Like the Grimsby fans were gutted that he'd gone, because he was obviously quite a big player for you guys. But clubs like us, I suppose, have gone and put the money down and gone, we'll give you a contract. Maybe that didn't seem to be happening at Grimsby.
It was, well, as I say, a bizarre set of circumstances really in the summer. And I mean, somebody like Jake Hessenthaler, sort of player who just should not be allowed to leave a club, basically. If you're going to put a contract down in front of a player, it's going to be him. I mean, he is your typical kind of give you 7 out of 10 every week. May come in with an even better performance, but you know what you're going to get from him. He's the absolute. I
would say for us, he's become one of the first names on the team sheet.
I'd say so.
He's been absolutely super.
The absolute linchpin.
Sorry, sorry to rub it in.
It's all right.
That knife in the back.
I mean, absolute linchpin in midfield. Set a tone for everything. Gets the team moving. That sort of thing. And just, I don't know whether there was no effort put in, but just seemed to be let go without as much of an effort, really.
Another former Grimsby player who's come down to Crawley is Tilly. What did you see? We've not seen a huge amount. He scored our winner at the weekend, which was huge for us and great for him to get up his starts tonight. What did you make of him in his time at Grimsby?
He showed bright sparks in bursts. Had a few injuries, struggled with them a bit, and was in and out of the team. But when he did get into the team, you could see there was something there. Perhaps had Ian Holloway stayed,
I think the move away from him hit him hard as well.
Yes.
He's been away from home as well.
Yeah.
He's back now living with his parents. I think sometimes fans maybe overlook those sorts of things as to a player's personal circumstances.
They're humans at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was a big call from him to make the move up here, really, and I think Ian Holloway might have been a big part. Just the name, really, working under him.
Someone who's gone the other way is Felipe Moraes.
Yes.
So he was at Crawley, and now he's playing for you guys. How's he getting on?
He's looked one of the better players recently. Recently he's been injured, but when he first came in January, it looked like there was a bit of a player there. In fact, it was before January when he came in. And it was Ian Holloway who brought him in actually as a free agent. And it looked like he was the sort of player you're looking at and thinking, that's what we need. A bit of experience, a bit of an old head in there, knows what he's doing, and actually can get town moving a bit. Obviously, he's been missing for the last few weeks, but it'd be good to see him back tonight.
Yeah. What are you expecting tonight?
It's always a big ask with town. Yeah. I mean, performances have improved recently, and you've got to get the win at some point. So I'll stick my neck on the line and say a 1-0 win for Grimsby.
I don't think there'll be much in it myself.
I hope not. I think I get the impression we won by the odd goal tonight.
Yes.
I don't see many goals here, to be honest. Not necessarily just because of the two teams. I just think that
the weather.
It's a difficult place to come and score goals, I think. James, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your insight into Grimsby Town. Really, really grateful for that. I promised on Saturday that we would have a look at the second half of that Zoom call that I had with Sergio Torres, Danny Bullman and Matt Tubbs. The first half, we covered all sorts of different topics, mainly about that great season in 2010-2011, looking back at the Manchester United FA Cup game. It went on too long for one show, so we've split it across two. So here is the second half. Sit back and enjoy.
And I can remember when that squad was being assembled, we sort of come out of nowhere because we'd had all sorts of financial trouble. And it was actually when Kuipers was signed, I sort of thought, hang on, what's going on here? Why is he signing for Crawley? And then I think, Tubbsy, you must have been one of the early signings that year as well. I think you were the top goal scorer in the league the season before. And all of a sudden you start going, hang on a second, we're building a side here. And obviously we had some weaker players like Bully to make up the numbers. But on the whole, like, were you guys in that dressing room looking around going, do you know what? Everybody here is probably too good for the conference. Did you feel like from day one you were gonna smash the league?
No, I think what Steve Evans has done really well is I don't think he went and just bought like the best players like in the league. Obviously they were cash rich at the time, and he never went and bought out like the best players. I think he bought the players in that fitted into the group. Obviously some fell by the wayside along the way, as you saw, but I think his big thing was just building a sort of team spirit as such. And like I said, so hard for anyone outside to come in and fit in straight away.
Yeah, I'll see, that's true. So sorry, going back to Old Trafford, I'll keep digressing. Serge, Wes Brown scores in the 28th minute. At that point, are you thinking, oh, here we go? Or are you thinking, all right, we're still in the game? What's your mindset at that point?
From what I remember, the first half, we were a bit, I don't know if it was afraid or nervous or what, like we just weren't very good on the ball. We respect them, I think, a bit too much. But when they score, I think that nothing really changes. I remember at half time, like having a chat, and then I don't know if it was Steve or who was it, said they're not actually much better. But we realized they're not much better than us. So just let's go the next 45 minutes and let's have a real good go. You know, like we're not going to be here ever again probably. So I wasn't really afraid. They weren't that much better than us. They had a few more chances, yeah, but yeah. Like I said, mate, if Tubbsy scored that overhead kick at the end, would have been 1-1, wasn't it, Tubbsy?
Yeah, it's Wes Brown's.
Yeah, it's Tim off his head, did he?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Rooney scored an overhead kick the week before, wasn't it? Remember?
Yeah,
I
I'd have retired if that would have went in. I'd have gone to the corner flag, hung my boots up, and said, "Right, see you later. I'm done."
Nah, you get a good deal after that, mate.
You did retire after that, didn't you?
Hey,
You did retire after that game.
you're bloody horrible, Danny. You won't see you.
Well, like that season, Tubbsy, you pretty much every time watching throughout that season, you always felt like you were going to score. Like from the fans, you always looked at it and go, "Well, we're definitely scoring at least once or twice today." And most of the time, it was you. Did you always feel with that part of your career? Did you just think every time you stepped over the white line, you were going to score?
Yeah, I think I did. To be fair, and that's not just me being a goal scorer. That was because knowing that I had a team around me that were going to put on a plate for me. Because I think the last season they showed the videos of all the games. All of my goals, majority of them, were in the 18-yard box or 6-yard box, and that's credit to the team, for creating those chances for me. Whether it was a rebounded shot, which was a tap in, or a cross, which I'm tapping in from 2 yards out. So my job was just to get in the right positions because I knew I had the guys around me to put it in. But watching the games back as well, it's almost like not being able to trap a bag of sand. Some games it was all bouncing off me and everything. And I'm thinking, you've done all right that season.
What was that goal where you kicked the floor and then you sort of kneed it in as you fell over? What was that one?
No, that was when I went on loan. That was against against, and then it set Billy Clark up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what an assist! You don't get any better than that.
No, but we were saying, like, I think the old owner Paul, he put all the he streamed the shows. That season on Glitch or whatever it's called, I don't know. And I think I spoke to Tubbsy and he goes, "Oh my God, we were so bad." Like he was like just running around, just like, "Oh, it's a football. Let's run after it." And it's just we somehow just won game after game after game after game. Just the ball just kept hitting Tubbsy and going in. It was just like, "Oh, fair play."
Every single time it went to either Dean Howe or Glenn Wilson, it was just absolute shell to Macca, and then everyone was just in and around Macca.
It's quite interesting. Someone had his shirt from the season. They pulled it out their drawer the other day in the office, and we had a chat about Craig McAllister. And he almost he didn't score pretty much. It was Matt that scored most of the goals that year. Really, was a talisman for us. But was he sort of underrated? Do you think? Maybe not necessarily in the squad, but outside of Craig McAllister.
Yeah, I think so. I think what he done was amazing, especially for me personally. To play alongside him was an absolute dream. But again, he was another one. He was a loose cannon in the dressing room as well. Like he just fitted in so well. Like it was his bread and butter, that dressing room, for the stuff that he used to get up to with many others as well. So, like I said, for him to just fit in like he did and play like he did was, a big reason why we got promoted.
And so going back to Old Trafford again now. That's what I was supposed to be talking about, but I get too lost. Bully, Richard Brodie hit the bar. He come off the bench, hit the bar in the dying minutes. At that point, sort of just leading up to that, did you feel like we were going to get an equaliser, or as it went on, we sort of seemed to come into it. And United did start thinking all of a sudden they were hanging on for a 1-0. Last 10 minutes of that game, including that moment, did you think actually we're gonna take them back to the Broadfield here?
Yeah, I think we, like Sergio said, a bit nervous at the beginning and just sort of grew into the game. And after the goal, we really did grow. And I think Hunty had a bit of a chance in the sort of edge of the box or just inside the box. And Brodie had that header or whatever he did and clipped the crossbar and sees his stupid face, like shocked. That in your documentary, but yeah. One of the best stories though of Brodie. One of the ones we can probably say anyway. It was when we went to where we went to in LA.
Yeah, like was it the Warner Brothers thing?
Universal or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You now have to tell the story. You can't say a time that the three of you know, and I'm sitting here going, "What happened?"
Oh, basically, we were promised some money when we were out in Vegas, sort of thing. We were in Vegas and LA for our promotion, sort of party, and so he goes, "Oh no, Steve Evans was like, you get in LA, you get in LA, you get in LA." Got to the airport at Vegas, and like the flights were all buggered up or whatever, so we had to rebook them, this, that, and the other. So our money disappeared on the flights, and as a token of goodwill by the airport company, whatever it was, they gave us like 30 tickets to Warner Brothers or whatever it was. And so there's like, this is 10 o'clock in the morning, 30 grown geezers walking around this family park. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like half cut still, like hanging out of our old, you know what? And like they used to pick on Brody all the time, Steve Evans, like just like, what are you doing? You've been an idiot, like that. So you get them sort of desks where they paint your face. Like that, and we got Brody. We paid for him to get like, what was it? A skull or what was it?
I can't remember. I remember him doing it, but I can't remember what he had.
It must be pictures somewhere.
And literally, he finished. He stood up, and then just that second, Steve and Rayner came around the corner, just looked at him like, "What the f- are you doing?" Like, and he's like, "I don't know. It's the love, man." Just anything that happened was just happened to him, and it was just hilarious. You have to walk around with a 25-year-old geezer with his face painted all day. It was it probably helped that we were still half cut and would laugh about anything. But yeah, it was a good time.
So after the game at Old Trafford, you're in the change room. Obviously, we're out of the cup, but I think I can remember all the players being on the pitch. It must have stayed on the pitch for a good sort of 10-20 minutes after the game. The whole crowd, about 9,000 people, and even though we'd lost the game, the whole feeling around the place was almost like we'd won it. It was unbelievable. What was the players' feelings? Was it one of like regret that we hadn't got a goal, or was it one of pride that we'd put on such a big performance at such a huge place? Serge, you can tell us.
I think it was a bit of a mix, to be fair. It was a proud moment for all of us that all our families were there, or especially in my case, my dad. I didn't see my dad before the game. Like, he came from Argentina, and I knew he was there. I was waving to him, and all the people who helped me along the way to become professional was there. Like, was watching the game with me. So it was a proud moment for me to give them back something, that to be able to come to Old Trafford and watch me play there. But in the other hand, like I was upset that we didn't get the draw at least, because we really deserved in that second half. And then a lot of people, no one gave us a chance before the game, I remember. But in the dressing room, in between us, we were talking, and we were saying, we were feeling almost unbeatable at the time. I'm thinking, got nothing to lose. Like, what, we got to this stage. We beat Derby, we beat, Torquay, like league clubs. Why can we not do it? So it was a bit of a mixture for me.
And Peter Bellamy asked, he said, how many times have you watched the game back? Tubbsy, we'll start with you.
Not actually the full game. I think my mum bought me like the full DVD game, like as soon as it was done. But I've not actually watched the full game back. But like the clips, like the highlights, watched that a few times. You do look at obviously there are quite a lot of chances during the game. Hernandez had quite a few, half chances as well, which obviously Carl and Kipe's done really well with. But you look at our chances as well, and our chances sort of were just as good, if not better than theirs. On another day, they had an off day that day, and we had one of our better days, and that's why the result was only 1-0. But on another day, we would have snatched the draw and got on back to the Broadfield.
Bully, have you watched it back at all?
No, I can't imagine Bully watching.
No, at all. I did like fast forward to the end and like look like what we're doing on the pitch and stuff like that. I'm just trying to get to see if I can see Sergio with his scissors cutting up the Old Trafford turf.
No, man, I got it with my fingers. That was brilliant.
What about you, Serge?
No, I haven't watched the game back. To be fair,
The documentary though.
yeah, it's on my documentary, mate. So you can watch clips of it there. I did watch when we're in the tunnel and then coming out on the pitch, and then you can see me laughing at Bully. That was class. Bully shouting, "I'm so excited! I'm so excited!" He's just walking at Old Trafford, 75,000 people, and he's just messing about like being bullied.
He's having a laugh.
Honestly, you helped me relax, and I think everyone who was there, because we were so tense, like walking there.
Did you start the game, Serge?
I did, mate. I only came alive in the second half. I didn't touch a ball. That's why I didn't watch it back. I think in the first half I was just running around with Bully in the middle, we were trying to foul. What's the Brazilian guy? Anderson.
No, it didn't help the Gibson playing. That's what didn't help us. He was a floater. He was playing for both teams.
That Anderson, I remember Bully smashed him twice. I think he came off at halftime.
Who, me?
No, you smashed him.
And so obviously everyone knows what happened afterwards. We went on, won the league quite comfortably, and you've all had sort of you all had different careers sort of after that. Obviously, Matt went off to Bournemouth and had a few loan spells.
Big time. He left us. He was one of the first ones to leave us, wasn't he?
How difficult was that for you? Was it a case of you wanting to get? Was it? Well, that's what I was going to say. Was it a case of you wanting to leave, or was it a case of actually you had to leave because the money on offer was life changing?
No, I know these guys are going to be hammering me now, but it wasn't that. It was just more. It was the journey home from Hull, because I actually agreed my deal with Bournemouth before that whole game in the FA Cup. I'd actually verbally agreed it. So playing that game, knowing that 48 hours later I was going to be signing for Bournemouth. So that, and then obviously winning that game, and then coming back on the coach, and everyone obviously,
You scored in that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it was off his shin, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, the massive punt up the field, and you ran onto it. Perfect. No, carry on.
Yeah. So coming home, it was like a bit mixed emotions. Thinking, is the grass going to be greener? Obviously, a club now, which obviously with clubs on the up, doing really, really well. But my hometown clubs come in for me, offered me a 3.5-year deal. I was still living sort of Bournemouth way, traveling 2 hours to training every day and back. So it wasn't an easy decision, but I think at the time for me in my career, it was the right decision. So I knew these two would get on me now. But it was I think it was at the time it was the right decision to do. So.
And but I think Bully's probably jealous because 10 years on, he's still trying to earn a living at Crawley Town, aren't you?
Exactly. He's still waiting for my move.
Could be worse. You could be playing in a league that's been postponed.
Are you going to have a testimonial, Bully?
Well, funny you should say that. I need to talk to someone who could market it and just get behind it. And say, if I say you're playing,
yeah, I'm definitely there. Even if you don't invite me, I'm going. I'm playing.
With your top off.
With my top off, yeah. I play barefoot for you, Bully, if you want.
No, you're the halftime entertainment. You got to do your dance.
And right, just to sort of wrap it up, I appreciate all your time. I just want to ask you all individually, and it might be in a way I want the answer to be no. I want to hear some stories, but was that period of time, that season, was that the highlight of your careers? Serge, start with you.
Yes, definitely. I got a couple, to be fair, playing at Stamford Bridge. It was that was nice as well.
Have you got a cold, mate?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So my time. Wycombe Wanderers was my first professional club. That was a highlight for me because becoming professional. But that changed at Crawley. I never experienced anything like that. So it was a special time. Back-to-back promotion, the first time in my career that I achieved that. What it meant for the whole club, the whole supporters, everyone, to reach the 5th round of the FA Cup. I believe it was the first time in the club history. So yeah, it's definitely a highlight, and it's so good to meet people like these two guys here, and then friends for life.
Bully?
For me, yeah, just the group of lads that made it what it was, really. So I think I don't know if I can speak for these guys. I don't look back on the games and the results and everything, just the stories and the games of fun and laughter that we had each and every day. It was just, I can only sort of compare it to like a non-league crazy game, basically, because it was that kind of environment, and one that you don't get in every career. So yeah, I was very fortunate to be a part of it.
And finally, Tubbsy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I obviously 18 months there, and it was amazing. Like I said, coming into training every day with finding out who's the next player coming in, who's the next player leaving, what stories there are. It was just everything about the season. Obviously, the cup run, obviously winning the league, how we won it, with being so many points behind Wimbledon at the time, and then obviously steamrolling all our games in hand, and then winning the league like we did, and then up until the end of January when we had that cup run again, and obviously winning. So yeah, just the whole, I mean, echoing what Bully said as well, it's the stories that have come out, like from when I was there for the 18 months, that you kind of tell people now and they're like, yeah, all right, that never happened. And then you think, it actually did. And like these guys would kind of say some of the stuff that went on, but these guys would say, it did happen. But if you tell someone else it, they'd be like, yeah, all right. But it was never ending. There was always something happening. There's always something going on. There's always someone being like the class clown, messing around and joking around. So on the whole, it's just an experience was just phenomenal for me.
And we had Serge on the show the other week. He told us what he's up to, and obviously Danny's still at the club. But what are you doing yourself now?
I'm teaching at the moment. So I'm teaching at a sixth form college in the New Forest. So teaching sport and exercise science. So it's a bit different, but it's some few similarities to coaching. But it's something that I'm enjoying at the moment. So we'll see where that takes me.
Lovely. Well, fellas, I appreciate your time joining us and sharing your thoughts and memories. I'm sure the fans will love to see it. So thank you very much for giving up your time.
No problem, Joe. Thanks a lot, man.
Cheers.
Really good catching up with, though, lads. Hope you guys have enjoyed that interview. We'll try and do a few more of those with some current players and some ex-players as well, because I think people seem to enjoy them, which is great. Almost all we've got time for, but plug the sponsors first, of course. Mr. Declutter, huge thank you to them for sponsoring, and all our regular sponsors. Huge thank you to the Ryan Cantor Club, who have supplied the vehicles for us all to get here this evening. Huge thank you to Keith and the team down at Ryan Cantor Club for getting us here. A new sponsor here on Talk of the Town, but an old sponsor, an existing sponsor of the club, D. Durrant Removals and Storage. I promised them today that I would emerge from the Grimsby / Cleethorpes Sea, which I did this morning. If we're doing a new segment, hopefully when we go to these away games, we'll have a look over land and sea, we call it. Have a little look around, if we can do, obviously within COVID restrictions. Have a little look around the different venues that we're going to, and obviously people can't. So huge thank you to D. Durrant Removals for sponsoring that segment of the show. We were trying to get one done today, we didn't have time, so just a little time for me to jump in the sea, which I hope you all enjoyed, or don't have nightmares about that this evening. Fingers crossed the Reds can do the bits this evening and get the result. Be a big win, as I said earlier on, if they can do so. But Grimsby will be a tough opposition. Really windy here today, so fingers crossed that we get the job done. All that's left for me to say is come on, you Reds! What a show! If you enjoyed it as much as we did, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you can be notified about when we are next live here from Talk of the Town. Make sure you don't ever miss an episode, subscribe, hit the bell, and we will see you again very soon.
Since 2017, £30 million has been lost to pension scammers. That's about 26,000 Premier League season tickets. During these uncertain times, it's more important than ever to defend your hard-earned money. Be on the ball to anyone contacting you out of the blue. Find out more about pension scams and how to avoid them by visiting our website.